Breaking news on Capitol Hill that speaks to what Olivia was just mentioning, a disagreement over how to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It means that your elected representatives in the Senate failed to advance a funding package to avert that U.S. government shutdown. Democratic leaders like Senator Chuck Schumer are now demanding reforms to how ICE carries out its operations and how President Trump's immigration agenda is implemented in the days ahead. Here's what he had to say.
What ICE is doing is state-sanctioned thuggery. It must stop. After talking with my caucus, Senate Democrats are united on a set of common sense and necessary policy goals that we need to rein in ICE and end the violence. Our caucus is unified over three main legislative objectives.
Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize everyday Americans or kill American citizens. But that's exactly what's happening right now in the United States of America, which is why dramatic change is needed with the Department of Homeland Security before any appropriations bill related to ICE or CBP proceeds.
All right, Hakeem Jeffries there, CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion, watching all of this on Capitol Hill as that package hit the bricks in the Senate. Nikole, what's next?
Yeah, well, this wasn't unexpected. Leader Chuck Schumer had been warning for the better part of this week that Democrats were poised to block this funding package so long as it included funding for the Department of Homeland Security. And so what he's been trying to articulate is that that DHS bill should be split off, that Democrats are in agreement. They want to fund these other appropriations bills for agencies like the Department of Defense, the State Department, Transportation, Housing and Urban Development. But given the situation in Minnesota, they believe that reforms need to be made to ICE, and so that's why they want to handle the DHS bill separately. Now, we did learn that there has been some progress made in terms of conversations that remain ongoing between Leader Schumer and the White House on this front. As you mentioned, we heard the president even mention the notion of having, bipartisan discussions and trying to solve this issue in a bipartisan way in terms of trying to avert a shutdown. Nonetheless, procedurally, as you mentioned, though, the brakes have been put on this appropriations funding for now. So really, it's kind of a wait and see to see if a agreement can be reached around DHS funding that allows this funding to go forward, not just eventually for DHS, but for all these other critical agencies as well.
Well, and so as that situation in Minnesota prompts Democrats to really dig in their heels on this specific issue, you also have some reporting on House Democrats. Apparently they've been told privately to not travel to Minnesota. Do you have any details on who's advising this and then why?
Yeah, well, this was a staff letter that went out to Democratic offices, House offices earlier this week from a leadership staffer basically advising Democratic congressional members and not travel to Minnesota at this time because it could put undue strain on local law enforcement. So some of this was due to security concerns, and it encouraged members to do events in their own district, which we have seen throughout this week as rank and file members have been holding press conferences. And we saw just yesterday, for instance, Congressman Joaquin Castro of Texas make that visit with other congressional members to the Dilley detention facility down in Texas to check on a 5-year-old boy and his father who had been detained in Minnesota recently. So that was kind of the messaging. We also know that House Democrats did hold a call last night as well to talk more about their strategy around their opposition to ICE and ICE's conduct. So those discussions within the House Democratic caucus remain ongoing.
Well, we know this, midterm elections coming up, and Democrats would like to get power back in Congress. But that means Senator Amy Klobuchar is running for governor in Minnesota, which could change the balance of power in Congress. What are you hearing there on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, well, keep in mind, it's still a bit premature. Obviously, we did see the senator announce her gubernatorial bid, which, she had hinted at for a while now. And she actually did, in her announcement video today, kind of reference some of the challenges that her state has faced, noting that this has been a very difficult time for Minnesotans and that while she values her job here in the Senate, she, values what's happening in her state just as much, if not more, and feels that the best way to advocate for them is by launching this bid for governor, pledging to be what she says is a transformative governor if she is elected. So in the near term, it doesn't really upset the balance of power in Congress. She's still a senator, but certainly depending on how things progress with the race later this year, of course, that could potentially affect the dynamics. We do know, of course, that Minnesota Senator Tina Smith has already made clear that she is not seeking a re-election. So obviously that Senate seat remains up for grabs and has already garnered many interested individuals who are running in that race, both on the Democratic and Republican side. So always lots of interesting things happening in politics, Reed.
Nikole Killion getting the answers of those who we send to Washington to represent us. Thank you so much.